What's going on, everybody? That's right, I got the mic on, finally having a chance to sit down and record some audio. I'm really hoping it comes out clean because this brand new headset already has a short in it, probably because I'm always moving it back and forth from my PC to my tablet, but whatever. Nonetheless, you are stuck with it. You are stuck with my lovely voice. If you have forgotten, I am Guillotine, and in the bottom left, we've got BigD. I've matched with BigD a handful of other times. They're in the top Chinese clan, and usually when I match with them, it's back to back to back with a few other players that are also in the same clan. And if you look at the time, it's around when you would expect Chinese players to be awake and on the server. So we're going to go ahead and assume that BigD is a Chinese player. If I'm wrong, I'm terribly sorry, and feel free to correct me. This was a match that I almost GG'd out about 3 or 4 times, seriously. It comes at the tail end of a very frustrating day on the ladder. It just seemed like everything I did, someone was 2-3 steps ahead of me. But whatever, it happens. This is kind of the beginning of a brand new season, and that usually comes with some frustrating losing streaks. As you can see, BigD sending out a whole bunch of area of effect damage about to head up towards me. Before we get too into the match, I do want to say that I am planning on some more content with audio soon. One of the biggest requests that I've had actually is doing very beginner-friendly content, like so beginner as if like you've never played an RTS before. And so I do plan on doing that soon. So if that's you, I hear you, I see you. And I got you in mind. I got it coming. You know, usually we don't get too many players that are completely new to the genre. Most people that stumble upon this game have a love for StarCraft or Warcraft or Command & Conquer, AoE, all of the above. So it's refreshing that we have new players, but it's kind of uncharted territory for me. So I'm excited to break down the game into very simple concepts and see, I don't know, maybe I'll get better from it. That's the goal. So BigD moving in here, mini dragons and balloons from multiple angles. Now there's a lot of money invested in this army. So the thing is if I can defend successfully, I should be golden because I'm already on a 2-base economy. I can see all of these balloons and dragons, and I know that mathematically there's absolutely no way that he's got his second base up yet. So that's pretty much the only thing that's kept me in this game. I really wanted to quit right here. Most of my army's dead. I don't have enough Vodoons to really overtake this yet. The mini dragons moving in, which just 1 or 2 of them isn't terrible, but they can start killing workers really fast. They're one of the best units if you just want to kind of get in and kill workers and get out. They're very good at that. Their transability lets you disengage easily. And these balloons, this is one of the best maps for balloons. Some of the older maps, the distance between the edge of the playable map and like all the water or whatever surrounding it is a bit larger, and so it makes it harder if you only have ground troops to be able to hit them. And there's a lot of ledges and breaks in this map that allow balloons to be very good. So here I'm splitting up my army. I just need to scare them off a little bit while I can continue to build them up. I still don't have enough to win entirely, but I can clear out the top, I can start working on the bottom, and I just have to be careful not to get into a position to where they're out of range of my Vodoons. So right here, they're out of range, I need to pull back and wait for them to come back into range to start hitting my workers again. Once they're in range, I can send my guys right back in and try to pick one of them off. They do die pretty quick. Balloons are pretty squishy. They just have good range, and once you get a lot of them, it's just hard to overtake them. And so I'm getting a bit frustrated here, but I do have a pretty decently sized bank, so I'm not terribly worried about workers dying. I'm just going to keep remaking them and have them keep mining. I'm going to try to sneak a worker out at some point to get a third up, but in the meantime, same thing. I'm just volleying back and forth. Once they're out of range, I have to back myself up, let them come into range, and then sneak back up and try to kill another one. I think it takes 4 balloon hits to kill a worker, and the balloons have really low attack speed, so that's why they're really only dangerous when you just have an obscene amount of them. Now these mini dragons are a problem. This is enough to delete your mineral line in a matter of seconds. And while I do have a decently sized bank of minerals, and gas is getting up there a bit, I do know that at some point I'm going to mine out, and I'm going to have to get out of there. So this is just another part to where, you know, I'm playing defense, I'm feeling okay, but I still feel like a big push is coming, and this is certainly it. And so mini dragons come in, and just as I'm running back up there, he's able to send this one balloon in just to harass and to annoy me. But for me, priority number one is coming in and being able to clean this up. He killed about 10 workers right there. And then now down at the bottom, I don't really have anything that can shoot up, so I'm moving the berserkers out of the way, and I need to get some Voduns over there to try and kill this balloon, but the worry is always that this right here, they can come back into the base. He's a little bit late getting that trance to hit, and so I was able to kill a handful of them, and in a corner base, I've snuck and gotten a castle to start building. Luckily, he's gonna not realize it's there, and while this is happening, I'm sending some berserkers down to just go and do some solo duty. They can soak up a lot of AoE damage. They're kind of a great unit to have in this scenario because they will last for quite a while, and so I know that they're pretty much probably gonna die, and my only goal is to get in there and to kill workers while I continue to defend and while I get my third up. And if you can pay attention to the mini-map, BigD is going for the other corner base. And so even though I've cleared out these workers, he's got another castle rebuilding, and so he's not terribly worried about rebuilding those workers right now. So by this time, I've definitely already had my finger on the GG button probably 2, maybe 3 times, but I'm feeling pretty good killing all those workers. That third of BigD is not discovered just yet, so I feel comfortable pushing with a little bit of my army, hoping to kill as many flying things as I can. But right here is when I discover that there is quite a bit of sneak bombers in this army, and my berserkers are a little bit late getting down, so they don't suck up all of the sneak bombers. I also send them forward and kind of make a mistake and mismanage it here. I'm back home running macro, but they end up, one gets hung up on a barracks and the other just stands there and dies. So terrible waste of money. My whole army's gone, and this is another time where I'm thinking about quitting this match. However, what's keeping me in it is, hey, he hasn't discovered this third. I know he went home with the 2 remaining mini dragons he had up top. So the harassment, at least for now, is done. And if I can just focus on macro, I'm ahead. And I feel like I can win against this army if I can meet them in the open field. If I can suck up all the damage from the sneak bombers with some tanks up front, I feel like the Voduns and the Dwarf Hunters are enough to delete his air army. So right now I've got 3 bases saturated. I need to start thinking about a 4th. I usually like to have my 4th up much sooner than this, but I need to remax this army because BigD understands basic strategy. I just lost my entire army, so the best time for him to attack is now. Luckily, I was able to get together quite a bit of Voduns and Dwarf Hunters, and that tower right there definitely helped a lot. The dogs and the berserkers up front are solely just to take care of the sneak bombers and protect the back line, which they did. So now he's pulling his balloons back home. He's splitting a few off to the left, going to try to start to get some more annoying harassment again while he continues to get up base number 3. I need to scout that bottom corner, and I kind of know that, so I'm sending an owl over right now, and I definitely need to get base number 4 up. If you're thinking, why would you send hounds up against sneak bombers? Sneak bombers are going to just instantly delete them. You're definitely right. It's that I need to conserve my gas right now. So I'm more than happy to trade minerals for gas at the moment, especially while I get my 4th up and running at the right side of the map. I'm just going to keep defending BigD, again using the edges of this map very well for good balloon harassment, picking off workers, picking off Voduns. Each one of those Voduns that gets killed is 35 gas, and so that's a big hit for me. Big D is also expanding into his 4th base, so this could turn into a long and drawn out macro game, which is not necessarily anything I want to do versus this composition. With how successful he was in the early game with the harass, I know that I need to find a way to get ahead and to stay ahead. And so right about now, I'm researching, I'm trying to get some upgrades on my units that I've got a little bit of a gas surplus. I'm also about to send a dropship full of berserkers down to the corner base to try and start killing workers. I see this as my opportunity to do just that, to get ahead. And if it's successful, I feel confident that I can stay ahead. I feel like I've killed enough units to where if I can get in and disrupt the income to this 3rd and potentially 4th base, that I'll be in a really good spot. I also want to try to hit his natural while I'm hitting the other one to see if I can maybe cause him to hesitate to send his army where he doesn't necessarily want it to go. It kind of backfires a little bit here because I'm out in the open, yes, but those ledges, you cannot necessarily see over them, so there's a lot of balloons taking free hits. The mini dragons trance right over the Vodunes, which would usually just be an instant kill, but they have just enough armor upgrades to where they hang on for a few more shots. They're still going to die, but I could not have asked for any more from them. I'm going to try right now to outrun these balloons and get to the back of this mineral line and just kill as many workers as I can before the balloons catch up and finish off the rest of this small army. Big D is on top of it though. He's able to evacuate the workers before I do too much damage. I think I was able to kill only like 3. He sends in the balloons and the mini dragons. All of his workers in this 3rd are dead. I'm sending a berserker down to see if there's a 4th there. I'm almost mined out in my natural, so I'm considering going for a 5th now. I'm remaxing my army, getting ready for the counter attack. At this point, I don't think that he's discovered my 3rd or 4th, but he should know that it's there just based on how much army I've been able to produce. And considering that I just hit his natural really hard, he should probably come over here to defend, and it looks like that's what he's doing. He's sending his whole army over here. And so right now, rather than sitting here and letting these berserkers die and trying to kill this castle, I'm going to evacuate them. I'm going to try to juke and break the ankles of these mini dragons here and swoop around the other side. I'm sending these workers down here. I want to make this my 5th, but I do think that he ends up discovering them right here, chasing the drop ship. He runs into my workers. I'm not terribly worried about it though. I've got enough minerals in my bank to where I can build another worker and start a castle if I absolutely need to. I feel like he's going to start pushing north here to try to get into a base trade. I'm going to go put down my 5th right on the other side of the map, and now I'm going to go and attack the natural. Right now this is the only base that he has mining, and it's definitely close to being mined out. It did go down a little bit later than my natural, but it is getting pretty close to being mined out. Those berserkers, they made their way into the main, and they're going to focus down that castle. The natural expansion is going to go down as well, so all he's got left is the 4th down in the bottom right, which is hardly mining, and right about now Big D decides to call it quits. GG, it was a lot of fun, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.